The chamber floated above a storm. Far below, a gas giant boiled with endless orange and green clouds. Lightning flashed through the mist like veins of light. Inside the chamber, everything glowed with a cold silver shine. The floor looked like glass. Tall arches curved high over the delegates, catching the energy of the planet and humming softly. Rows of alien beings sat in crescent shapes. Their skin, scales, fur, and feathers showed every color of the stars. Some whispered with vibrating mouths. Some spoke through flashes of light. Others simply stared with unblinking eyes. 100 languages mixed into a low hiss. Every delegate was a power in the galaxy, and every one of them had come to see a single human. 2 insectoid guards entered. They were twice the height of a man, with black chitin armor and folded wings. Their legs clicked on the glass as they walked. Between them walked a woman in a simple dark suit. She had black hair tied tight behind her head, skin marked by faint scars from old work in space, and eyes that refused to drop. Her name was Commander Ava Ruiz, and she was the only human ever called to stand before the Galaxy Council. She carried a sealed case in her hands. It was small, flat and silver, but its surface shimmered like deep water. The guards stopped at the edge of a circular platform in the center. Ava stepped forward alone. She heard the whispers grow louder. She felt the weight of thousands of alien eyes. But she did not bow. Above the platform hung a rotating emblem, a circle of lights representing the member worlds. At the far end sat the High Arbiter, leader of the Council. Its body was like a column of translucent jelly with streaks of gold moving inside. When it spoke, its voice was both sound and vibration, echoing in the bones. "Human," the High Arbiter said. "You stand in the Hall of Equilibrium. No weapons, no lies, no disruption. State your name and purpose." "I'm Commander Ava Ruiz of Earth," she said. Her voice was steady. "I bring a message and evidence from my world. It concerns water." A sharp hiss rolled through the hall. The delegates shifted. Some curled their limbs tight. Others flicked their tongues in disbelief. Water was the lifeblood of the galaxy. No species had enough. Great wars had been fought over a single comet. And here was a human, speaking of it as if she carried a gift. "Humanity has no rights to speak of water," rasped a spiny creature from the upper seats. "Your world was marked dry in our archives. You are a minor species. You have no claim." Ava lifted the case a little higher. "We were marked dry," she said. "But the record is wrong. Or hidden." The High Arbiter pulsed gold, then dimmed. "Hidden by whom?" "That is what I'm here to show." The hall fell silent except for the storm outside. Lightning cracked through the clouds, sending pale light up into the chamber's floor. Ava felt the vibration under her boots. She took a slow breath. She had practiced this moment 1,000 times on the flight from Earth, but now her hands were cold. The Arbiter's inner streaks turned red. "If you are here to deceive, the penalty is dissolution. Are you prepared to face that?" "I am," Ava said. "But I will not be deceiving you." The insectoid guards stepped back. The platform's edge glowed, isolating her in a circle of light. Cameras in the ceiling moved to focus on her. In the far seats, a delegation of thin, pale beings. The Sahrin Empire, known for hoarding ice asteroids, whispered furiously. They had fought to keep humanity out of this hall. Now they watched, claws drumming on their rails. Ava shifted her stance. For decades, humanity was ignored by the greater galaxy. We were considered weak, primitive, a world of dust and rock. That judgment is false. Earth is not dust. Earth is alive. More hisses. Someone shouted in a clicking tongue. The Arbiter raised one translucent arm, and silence returned. Ava spoke again. "We lived under your shadow, obeyed your rules, paid your tolls. We watched as your fleet stripped moons for ice, while our planet was marked as barren. We believed you. Until now." She touched the case. Its surface rippled under her fingers like a drop of rain. She remembered the night she had left Earth. The hidden satellite images, the sealed archives, the warnings from her own government. "If you speak, you risk war," they had told her. But she had seen the truth with her own eyes. She had flown over the endless blue herself. She looked up at the council. "I hold proof, but before I show it, I ask one question." The Arbiter pulsed again. "Ask." What would the galaxy do, Ava said slowly, if a world existed with enough water to end your wars? Silence, absolute silence. Even the whispering stopped. A drop of moisture formed on the inside of one alien's breathing mask and rolled down like a tear. The spiny delegate hissed. Impossible. All worlds with open water were drained before the second expansion. The maps are complete, are they? Ava asked. Or have they been changed? The chamber's lights flickered. Outside, the gas giant storms raged. Ava felt the attention pressing in like a physical force. Her pulse raced. She saw a flash of movement high in the seats, someone passing a signal to someone else. She knew she was being watched, not just by the council, but by those who would kill to keep the secret. She went on. We were told to stay silent. We were told our oceans were illusions, ancient tales. But we remember blue skies. We remember rivers and rain. We are not dry. A murmur rose, then swelled. The Arbiter let it roll for a few seconds before raising its arm again. Human, it said, you risk destabilizing this hall. You risk death. Show your evidence or leave. Ava took one more breath. She looked at the case. Inside lay the thing that had changed her life. She could still turn back. She could still hand it over quietly to a faction and walk away. But that was not why she had come. I will show it, she said. The Arbiter leaned forward. Its golden streaks moved faster, like a heartbeat. Then open your case. The hall's lights dimmed. The storm outside flared bright, casting huge shadows on the walls. The insectoid guards retreated. Everyone leaned in. Thousands of eyes, lenses, sensors, and feelers aimed at her. Even the whispering stopped again. Ava set the case on the glowing floor. It floated slightly, held by a magnetic field. She pressed her palm to its surface. It read her print, then glowed brighter. A line of blue light traced around its edge. A click echoed like a drop falling into a deep well. For a moment, nothing happened. Ava's heart hammered. She saw one of the Sahrin delegates reach under his cloak, probably for a concealed weapon. She knew that if she opened it fully, there would be no going back. The High Arbiter's voice cut through the tension. What secret do you bring from Earth? Ava looked up. Her eyes were steady, but her voice was quiet. The truth. She pressed her thumb into the final seal. The case hissed and unfolded like a blooming flower. Blue light poured upward, casting ocean-colored reflections on the silver walls. Gasps and hisses broke from the delegates. Inside the case, a hologram flickered to life. Vast blue expanses, white clouds curling over them. Waves crashing on coasts. Rivers winding through green continents. The sound of water filled the chamber. Real sound, not a simulation. Some aliens recoiled as if burned. Others leaned forward, jaws hanging. One delegate whispered in a trembling voice, Impossible. Ava stood tall. This, she said, is Earth. The Arbiter's golden streaks turned white. It said nothing. No one spoke. Only the sound of waves echoed, an ancient sound most of them had never heard. Then, without warning, the hologram cut out. The case snapped shut by itself. A red warning flashed on its edge. Someone had triggered a security lock from outside. The images were gone. Ava's breath caught. She had planned to show more, maps, coordinates, proof of fresh oceans, but someone was already trying to silence her. She looked up and saw movement among the Sahrin again. One of them whispered into a riscom. Another pointed at her. The Arbiter spoke at last, its voice low. You will remain here under guard until we decide your fate. This council will recess, but Ava knew she did not have time. She had shown them only a glimpse, but it was enough. The chamber was no longer safe. She would have to act before they closed the trap. She picked up the case, holding it tight to her chest. I came to tell the truth, she said. Now the galaxy knows a part of it. Decide quickly, because the rest cannot be hidden forever. The guards moved toward her. Lightning cracked outside, shaking the floor. All across the hall, delegates began to speak at once. Shouts, demands, threats, pleas. The noise rose like a storm, and in the center of it all stood a single human, holding the secret of a blue world. While the greatest powers of the galaxy stared at her in shock, the chamber was still shaking from the storm outside when the hologram cut out. The blue oceans vanished, leaving only cold silver light on Ava Ruiz's face. She clutched the sealed case to her chest. Around her, the Galaxy Council erupted like a nest of startled insects. Alien delegates hissed, screeched, flashed signals. Some pounded the railings. A few stared in silence, their eyes wide with something like fear. It was the first time in centuries any being had seen living oceans. The High Arbiter pulsed dark red. "Cut the feeds," it ordered. All the public viewing spheres dimmed at once. The Council wanted this moment buried before it spread across the stars. 2 insectoid guards stepped forward. "You will remain," one clicked, reaching for Ava's arm. She stepped back. "You saw it," she said, her voice low but steady. "You can try to hide it, but you saw." The Arbiter's golden streaks writhed like coiling snakes. "We saw an image," it said. "A projection can be faked. You bring disruption, human. Without full verification, your claim is forbidden under Council law." Ava stared at it. "Verification? You sealed the archives yourselves." A ripple of shock went through the delegates. Few spoke of the sealed archives aloud. They were files so secret that even high-ranking species could not open them. Ava's words hung in the air like a blade. The Arbiter narrowed its light. "Explain yourself." Ava took a slow breath. Her mind flashed back to the night she had broken into the hidden data vault under the old lunar base. She remembered the old man from the Terran Bureau, handing her a data crystal with trembling hands. "They lied to us," he had whispered. "The galaxy doesn't want you to know. Show them if you dare." She lifted the case slightly. "This isn't just a projection," she said. "This is a direct link to Earth's protected nodes. The oceans you saw are live images from orbit." Murmurs swept the hall. One delegate's breathing mask fogged up with rapid breaths. Another flicked its tongue across its dry lips. "You are forbidden from accessing the protected nodes," the Arbiter thundered. "How did you breach them?" Ava smiled faintly. "You think humans are as weak as you planned us to be. You're wrong." Suddenly a flash of silver darted across her vision, a small, insect-like drone, no bigger than her hand, skimming low over the floor. It had no council markings. Ava recognized it at once, a Sahrin assassination drone. She shifted her weight just as it fired a tiny dart. The dart hit the case instead of her arm, bouncing off with a spark. Gasps. The guards lunged, but the drone zipped away into the shadows of the upper balconies. The Sahrin delegation sat still, pretending not to notice. The Arbiter's glow shifted to alarm. "Guards, lock the hall." Massive doors slid shut. A field of crackling blue energy sealed the exits. The chamber became a trap. Ava pressed her thumb to the case again. A hidden panel slid open on its side, showing a small black crystal. The true evidence. "You tried to stop me," she said. "But the proof is already here." She raised the crystal high so everyone could see. "This holds the original council maps before they were altered. Every planet, every ocean, and it shows Earth as it truly is." The Arbiter froze. The streaks inside its translucent body slowed like thick syrup. "Those files are restricted to the Founders. No one else can access them?" Ava finished. "Someone forgot to lock one door on your old lunar archive. Humanity walked through." Another murmur rose. Delegates shifted uneasily. Many had heard rumors of the Founders, the mysterious first race who built the Council system of water rationing eons ago. Few believed those archives still existed, and now a human claimed to hold them. Ava slid the crystal back into the case and closed it. "You wanted verification," she said. "I will show you everything, the maps, the coordinates, the truth. But not here. Not while drones are trying to kill me." The Arbiter's glow turned pale blue, the color of thought. "If your claim is true," it said slowly, "then every treaty we have signed, every law we have enforced, every war we have fought, all of it changes." "Yes," Ava said. "And you know why someone tried to cut the feed. They're afraid of change." Another flash of movement in the upper balconies, 2 more drones. The insectoid guards fired their stingers, but the drones darted aside and vanished into vents. The chamber echoed with angry shouts. Delegates scrambled for cover. For a moment, the Hall of Equilibrium looked like a marketplace in panic. Ava lowered her voice to the Arbiter. "You need to decide right now. Will you protect me so I can show the full proof, or will you let them silence me?" The Arbiter's golden streaks flared bright. "You are under council protection," it declared. "Guards, escort the human to the inner archives. Activate the null field." A soft hum filled the hall as a transparent dome of energy formed around Ava and the guards. The case flickered blue inside it. Outside the dome, drones smashed into the field and fell smoking to the floor. Delegates shouted for answers. Some demanded the human be detained. Others demanded her evidence immediately. The Arbiter ignored them all. "You will come with us," it told Ava. She nodded but kept her hand on the case. Her heart was racing. The inner archives were deep beneath the hall, a maze of secure tunnels. She would be safer there for now, but she knew the Sahrin would not stop. They would send more than drones next time. As the dome moved toward the exit, she glanced up at the balcony one last time. In the shadows, a tall, pale figure watched her leave. Its eyes glimmered like wet stones. It raised one claw to its lips, a silent threat. Ava gripped the case tighter. "I have to reach the inner archives," she thought. "If I can show them the maps before the Sahrin reach me, the truth will be out." The doors of the hall opened for her escort. Beyond them stretched a dark corridor lined with flickering blue lights. The hum of the storm outside faded. She stepped through, the dome moving with her, and felt the heavy door sealed behind. Somewhere in the depths of the station, alarms began to sound. The corridor to the inner archives was narrow and dim, a tunnel of dark metal curving deep into the station's core. Thin blue lights pulsed along the walls like a slow heartbeat. Commander Ava Ruiz walked in the center of the path, the sealed case in her arms. Around her, 2 insectoid guards kept pace inside the shimmering null field that protected her from further attack. Above, the muffled noise of the Galaxy Council faded into silence. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, until every breath left a faint mist. The only sound was the click of the guards' legs and the soft hum of the energy dome. Ava's mind replayed what had just happened. The hologram cut off, the assassination drones, the terrified faces of alien leaders seeing oceans for the first time. She had pierced a wound in the Council's history, and she could already feel the infection spreading. If she didn't act quickly, they would close it and bury her with it. One of the guards clicked its mandibles. "We are near the archives," it said. Its voice was mechanical, as if spoken through a translator. "Good," Ava murmured. She adjusted the case, feeling its weight. Inside the small black crystal lay the maps no one was supposed to see. Proof that the Founders had hidden Earth's true nature, and maybe the truth about other worlds as well. The tunnel opened into a small chamber. In the center rose a door, carved from some kind of transparent crystal, its surface etched with symbols older than any council member. The guards took positions on either side. "This is the Hall of Echoes," one said. "Only the Arbiter's command allows entry. Place your hand on the seal." Ava hesitated. The crystal door pulsed faintly as if alive. She could feel a faint vibration under her palm even before she touched it. Then she pressed her hand to the surface. Blue light raced through the carvings. A low tone rolled out, deep enough to vibrate in her ribs. The door split silently down the middle and slid apart. Beyond lay a cavernous room filled with tall black pillars. Each pillar shimmered with faint images, maps, treaties, ancient scripts, all locked behind layers of encryption. It smelled faintly of cold metal, and something older, like deep stone caves after rain. The guards deactivated the null field. "You are safe here," one said. Ava doubted that. She stepped inside, boots echoing on the smooth floor. The pillars seemed to watch her. She felt the weight of millennia pressing in from every side. This was where the Council kept the truths it didn't want to remember. She set the case on a pedestal in the center of the room. Its surface lit up, scanning her palm again. "Come on," she whispered. "Show me." The black crystal floated up out of the case and into the air. Lines of light shot from it to the pillars. Images burst across the room, not just Earth, but dozens of worlds, oceans, rivers, frozen comets. Entire blue planets marked cleared. In red script, Ava's breath caught. They took it from all of them. A whisper drifted through the chamber. At first, she thought it was her imagination, a trick of echoes. But then she heard it again, soft and clear. "They will erase you before the next session." She spun around. No one was there. The guard stood motionless by the door. The whisper had come from deeper inside the archive. "Ava Ruiz," the voice breathed. "Listen carefully." A shape emerged from behind a pillar, a small, grey-skinned alien with wide black eyes and a cloak of shifting colors. It looked frail, almost translucent. She recognized it from the council's lesser benches, a representative of a minor species that rarely spoke. "You should not be here," Ava said quietly. "It is too late for that," the alien replied. Its voice was soft but carried an edge. "I saw your hologram. I know what you hold. They will kill you before you reach the chamber again. Who are you?" "A friend of oceans," the alien said simply. "My people once drank from rivers too. Now we breathe recycled mist. You must reveal the maps before they are taken from you." Ava glanced back at the guards. They stood frozen, as if they couldn't hear the conversation. "How?" she whispered. "They cut the feed already." "Broadcast from here," the alien said. "This room connects to every secure channel in the council. Show them before the Sahrin send their fleet." Ava looked at the hovering crystal. Streams of data were already flowing from it, rewriting the pillar's images. Oceans blooming across the maps like blue fire. Her throat tightened. She had thought she was fighting for Earth alone. But the archive showed dozens of stolen worlds, all dry now because of the Founder's hidden plan. The whisper came again, almost like a breeze over water. "You hold the lost ocean. Speak before it is gone." A loud clang echoed down the tunnel. The guards snapped to alert. Red light flashed at the door. Someone was forcing it open from the outside. Ava grabbed the crystal out of the air. The images vanished at once. She slammed it back into the case and sealed it. "And they're here," she said. The small alien melted back into the shadows. "Go to the blue vault," it hissed. "Below the archive. Only your kind can open it. Where? Follow the water." The whisper faded. The door shuddered under impact. Sparks shot from its edges. The guards moved to block it, mandibles clicking. "Intruders," one said. "They come." Ava looked around the pillars, heart hammering. Somewhere beneath her feet was the blue vault. If she could reach it, maybe she could unlock the final piece of the Founder's secret. Maybe she could save more than Earth. The door cracked. A sliver of darkness appeared between the halves. She could hear claws on metal, low growls. The Sahrin had come. She picked up the case. "I'm not dying here," she whispered to herself. The guards hissed and braced their spears. The door buckled inward, and in the cold, echoing chamber filled with stolen maps of dead oceans, a lone human prepared to run toward the one place left that might hold the truth. The door to the inner archive bulged under the force outside. Dust and blue sparks rained down from the seams. Commander Ava Ruiz tightened her grip on the silver case. Inside it, the black crystal pulsed like a heartbeat. The insectoid guards braced themselves, mandibles clicking in a rapid code she couldn't understand. A second, heavier blow shook the crystal door. Thin cracks spidered across its surface. Beyond, muffled shouts and the screech of claws on metal echoed down the tunnel. The Sahrin had arrived. Ava's pulse thudded in her ears. The small, grey alien's whisper still clung to her mind. "Go to the blue vault. Follow the water." She looked around the archive chamber, searching for anything, a sign, a path, a way out. A soft sound reached her. Not the crack of weapons or the hiss of guards, but a trickle, like water dripping in a cave. She turned. At the far end of the chamber, between two towering data pillars, a faint blue mist curled upward from the floor. Tiny droplets shimmered in the air, vanishing as they rose. "That's it," she breathed. She ran toward the mist. Behind her, the guards hissed a warning, but she ignored them. The sealed case was heavy, but she held it tight. Each footstep echoed like a gunshot in the silent hall. The mist came from a narrow seam in the floor. Symbols glowed faintly around it, older than any script she had ever seen. As she stepped closer, the droplets formed a small, swirling pattern, like a whirlpool. She knelt and touched the edge. It was cold. Another crash from the door. This time the crystal shattered inward. Shards skittered across the floor. Dark, tall shapes poured through the gap, Sahrin enforcers in matte armor, their claws glinting, mouths hidden behind breathing masks. They fanned out, weapons raised. The insectoid guards leapt to meet them. Sonic stingers cracked the air, making Ava's teeth ache. The first wave of Sahrin fell, but more followed, their armor sparking under each hit. Ava pressed her palm to the glowing symbols. "Come on," she whispered. The symbols flared brighter. A ring of light shot outward, circling her. The seam in the floor split open silently, revealing a spiral stairway descending into deep blue light. A rush of cool air, scented faintly of rain, brushed her face. Behind her, one of the insectoid guards fell with a hiss. The other roared a challenge and hurled itself at the advancing Sahrin. "Go!" it clicked at her. "Run!" Ava hesitated only a heartbeat. Then she slung the case over her shoulder and dropped into the stairwell. The steps were slick and glowing, leading down into darkness. The opening sealed above her as soon as she passed, shutting out the screams and the clash of weapons. She descended quickly, her hands sliding along the smooth, wet wall. The deeper she went, the louder the sound of water became. Not just a drip, but a steady flow, like a hidden river. The air grew warmer and heavy with moisture. It felt like stepping into a forgotten rainforest. After a dozen turns, the stairwell opened into a vast underground cavern. Blue light reflected off countless drops hanging from the ceiling. In the center of the cavern stood a huge circular door of stone and metal, covered in the same ancient symbols. Thin streams of water leaked from its edges and ran down channels cut into the floor. Ava's throat tightened. She hadn't seen so much free water since leaving Earth. She approached the door slowly. Each step splashed in shallow pools. This, she realized, was the blue vault the Whisper had mentioned. She placed the case on the ground and laid both hands on the door. It was cool, alive. The symbols glowed faintly under her skin. For a moment she felt a strange pull, as if the door were tasting her memories, oceans, storms, rain on her childhood window. Then it spoke in a low, ancient voice inside her head. Human blood. Human breath. Key accepted. A soft rumble shook the cavern. The streams of water brightened to liquid light. Mechanisms hidden for millennia began to move. Far above, faint thuds and distant screeches echoed through the rock. The Sahrin were still fighting to reach her. She had minutes, maybe seconds. The door cracked open, releasing a rush of mist. Inside, she glimpsed a hall lined with crystal cylinders. Shapes floated inside them. Not bodies, but glowing holograms of oceans, rivers, and strange machines. At the far end, a single pedestal held a sphere of pure water, suspended in mid-air. Ava stepped inside, heart racing. The air was warm and humid, almost like home. She could hear the whisper again, clearer now. What was taken can be restored. But only if you choose. She approached the pedestal. The sphere pulsed softly, like a living thing. In its depths, she saw flashes of stars, maps of worlds, blue fire spreading across black space. She reached out a trembling hand. "Is this the cure?" she whispered. The whisper replied, "This is what the founders feared. A key to restore what they drained. Water for the species who thirst. But water is life. And war." A loud crash above made the cavern ceiling tremble. Dust and droplets rained down. Ava snatched her hand back. The Sahrin were breaking through. She had found the vault, but she had no plan for what came next. She looked from the sphere to the case. If she took both, she would be a walking target for every thirsty empire in the galaxy. But if she left the sphere, the secret might die with her. She drew a steady breath. "I didn't come this far to walk away." She picked up the sphere. It was lighter than it looked, cool and pulsing in her palms. She slipped it into a compartment inside the case and sealed it. The case glowed blue, accepting the new burden. The whisper faded, leaving only the sound of running water and the distant thunder of pursuit. Ava turned toward the stairwell. The blue vault's door began to close behind her with a slow, grinding sound. Above, the last of the guards screamed, then silence. Shadows flickered at the top of the stairs. She held the case tight against her chest. "Let them come," she murmured. "We're not dry anymore, and as the first clawed hand reached down into the stairwell, she started to climb back up, carrying the secret of the blue vault and the hope of every species who thirst darkness wrapped around. Commander Ava Ruiz, as she stumbled deeper into the blue vault. The stairwell behind her shuddered with distant crashes, claws and boots pounding closer. Her breath came fast. In her hands, the sealed case glowed blue, and inside it, the sphere of living water pulsed like a heart. All around her, the walls of the vault shimmered with ancient symbols. Drops fell from the ceiling like slow rain, but the floor was dry. It felt like standing inside a memory of an ocean. The vault door above slammed shut with a thunderous boom, sealing her off from the upper world. For a heartbeat, everything went silent except for the faint hum of the vault itself, like a giant creature sleeping under the planet's skin. Ava lifted her head. The hall before her stretched into blue haze. Crystal cylinders lined each side, reaching higher than she could see. Inside each cylinder, holographic images floated, rivers, clouds, storms, and shapes of alien creatures swimming in seas. Some were Earth's oceans, others were worlds she didn't recognize. The air smelled of rain. Her boots echoed on the stone floor as she walked forward. The case grew heavier. She could feel the sphere vibrating softly, like it wanted to be free. She stopped at the first cylinder. A huge image of Earth's Pacific Ocean rolled inside, waves frozen mid-crash. The sight twisted her stomach. She hadn't seen that blue since leaving home. She touched the glass and the waves shifted, showing old Earth ships, clouds, and storms. The hologram whispered in a language she didn't know. Another crash echoed faintly from above. They were still coming. She forced herself onward. Far ahead, a raised platform glowed brighter than the rest. At its center stood a ring-shaped console. Symbols rippled across its surface like water. A soft female voice spoke from nowhere. Bearer identified. Humanity's witness confirmed. Vault functions unlocked. Ava froze. Who's speaking? The custodian, the voice said. We are the memory of the waters. You have brought the key. Ava climbed the platform. Her heart thudded. She set the case down. The galaxy's dying of thirst, she said. They told us Earth was dry, broken, but we still have water. Enough to change everything. Not enough to share with them, the custodian replied. Enough to awaken the source. Blue light poured from the console and wrapped around Ava's hands. Images flashed before her eyes. Ancient alien fleets draining oceans, the birth of the Council, hidden vaults buried on dead moons. She saw rivers running backward, seas turned to dust, species clawing for droplets. They did this, she whispered. Yes, the custodian said. They feared war, so they took water. But they also feared one world. Your world, Earth, water untouched. Memory intact. Ava's throat tightened. Why show me? Because the vault can be opened only by a living witness, the custodian said. You are the first to come with truth instead of fear. The console's surface shifted, forming a map of the galaxy. Blue lines traced long-buried water routes, hidden caches, sleeping oceans. At the center pulsed Earth, bright as a star. Another tremor shook the hall. Dust fell from the ceiling. A low roar echoed down the stairwell. The Sahrin had broken through the outer chamber. You don't have time, the custodian said. Choose, take the knowledge and run. Or awaken the source now and risk war. Ava stared at the map. Her hands shook. She could run, carry the secret back to Earth, let the Council fight over rumors. Or she could press her palm to the console and send a signal across the stars that would change everything. Her mind flashed with images, thirsty colonies, dry children, the Council's cold eyes, the Sahrin's claws. Then she remembered the ocean on the glass cylinder, the blue that still lived inside her. She looked down at the sealed case. If I awaken the source, she asked, what happens? The waters will flow, the custodian said. The Council will know. The Sahrin will know. All will fight. But life will return. Footsteps echoed in the stairwell. Shadows flickered on the far wall. The Sahrin were here. Ava drew a long breath. Then we fight on our terms. She pressed both palms to the console. The symbols flared brilliant blue. The map expanded, flooding the hall with light. A deep note rang out like a bell. Inside the case, the sphere of water burst free, rising into the air above her. It hovered, spinning, shedding droplets that hissed into steam. The steam formed a towering shape, a figure of flowing water, eyes like rivers. It spoke in a voice like thunder. Witness accepted. Source awakening. Above them, the ceiling cracked open. A column of blue light shot upward, cutting through rock and reaching for the sky. Far away, hidden reservoirs stirred. Ice melted on dead moons. Aquifers woke beneath dry worlds. Ava shielded her eyes as the vault came alive. The Sahrin reached the doorway and stopped, blinded by the light. They hissed in fear, claws raised. The water figure turned its gaze on them. Thirst ends, it said. But hunger begins. Ava looked up at it. Then help me guide them, she said quietly. Before it's too late. The figure tilted its head, as if listening. Then it dissolved back into droplets, which rained down and vanished into the floor. The blue light faded. The console dimmed. The hall fell silent except for the sound of water dripping again. Ava was alone. The case empty at her feet, the Sahrin still at the doorway, hesitant, unsure. She met their black eyes. "Tell your masters," she said, voice steady. "The waters have awakened, and humanity holds the key." Black space stretched forever, studded with cold stars. In the middle of it, a lone human shuttle drifted, engines on silent running. Inside, Commander Ava Ruiz sat strapped into the pilot's chair, her fingers tight on the controls. Behind her, in a sealed container, the awakened sphere of water pulsed faintly like a living star. Every display in the cockpit showed empty readings, but Ava's gut told her they weren't alone. A low hum began in the hull. Not an engine, a scanner. She flicked off every light. The cockpit went dark, except for the glow of her eyes and the heartbeat-like pulse from the container. Out the window, the shadow of something huge slid across the stars. She whispered to herself, "They found me." From the darkness above, a Sahrin warship unfolded, a vast, mantis-shaped vessel with claws like scythes. It moved without sound, its hull absorbing starlight. Hundreds of faint blue glows winked along its belly. Smaller ships broke off, circling the shuttle like predators. Inside the cockpit, Ava's hands hovered over the controls. She had one human shuttle against an entire hunting pack. But she had something they wanted more than her life. The sphere, the source. Another sensor ping trembled through the hull. Her comms flickered to life with a harsh hiss. A guttural voice spoke in broken standard, "Human, yield the water, live." Ava stayed silent. She reached down and unclipped the safety on a small drive, mounted under her seat. It wasn't a weapon. It was a beacon, the only chance she had. For hours she had fled the Council's reach, slipping between gravity wells and hiding in dead sectors. She'd thought she'd lost the Sahrin, but the moment she left the Vault's planet, they'd been waiting. Someone in the Council must have told them. A sharp clang echoed through the shuttle as a magnetic harpoon locked onto her hull. The smaller predator ships tightened their circle, energy nets flaring between them like spider silk. She could feel the shuttle's power draining. Ava opened a secure channel. "This is Commander Ruiz of Earth," she said, voice steady. "You're trespassing on a neutral lane." The voice came back colder. "Neutral no longer. Water belongs to all. Give it." She glanced at the container. Droplets floated inside it in strange patterns, like a code. The custodian's last words echoed in her mind. "You will be hunted. But you are not alone." She flipped the beacon switch. Deep inside her ship, a hidden transmitter powered up, sending a pulse through hyperspace, an old emergency frequency used only once in a forgotten war. Somewhere, if humanity still had friends, they would hear it. The Sahrin warship moved closer, its scythe-like claws opening. A docking tube extended toward her airlock. She saw the glint of armored shapes inside, ready to board. She took a breath and keyed the engines. "Not today," she whispered. With a single thrust, she slammed the shuttle into a spin, breaking the harpoon line. Sparks exploded outside the window. The predator ships scattered, firing nets of blue energy. One grazed her wing, sending alarms shrieking. She dove toward the shadow of a small dead moon. Craters loomed, rocks spun past. The Sahrin followed like sharks, their weapons glowing. The shuttle's hull groaned under the stress. Inside, the sphere pulsed harder, almost painfully bright. Patterns of water appeared on the cockpit glass, moving like maps. Ava stared at them, realizing they were showing her a route, a hidden fold in space. "A way out. I hope you know what you're doing," she muttered, and angled the shuttle toward the coordinates the sphere projected. A scream of metal filled the cabin as another harpoon slammed into her tail. Red lights flared. She slammed the controls, cutting engines and flipping the shuttle belly up. The harpoon line snapped, sending the Sahrin craft spinning. Then she hit the fold. For a heartbeat, everything went white. The stars bent, the moon stretched like taffy, and silence swallowed all sound. When the view cleared, the shuttle floated in deep, empty black. No Sahrin, no warship. Only one faint beacon blinking on her radar. Not Sahrin, not Council. Human. Her comm crackled. A calm voice spoke. "Commander Ruiz, this is the Ark Horizon. We got your signal. We're inbound." Relief washed over her, but only for a second. The sphere inside its container pulsed again, faster, almost warning her. Out of the darkness ahead, something larger than any Sahrin ship unfolded. A silhouette of a forgotten dreadnought, human but ancient, bristling with weapons and sails of cracked metal. The calm voice repeated, "We've been waiting for you." Ava's hands tightened on the controls. She had escaped the ambush in the void, but she had flown straight into something older and even more dangerous, and it was smiling at her through the stars. A corridor of shattered stars framed the massive silhouette of the Ark Horizon. Its hull was blackened and pitted with age, but its shape was unmistakable, a human-built dreadnought from a war no one admitted had happened. Commander Ava Ruiz's small shuttle drifted toward it under silent tractor beams. In the cockpit, the sphere of living water pulsed like a caged sun, casting pale light over her face. Every instinct screamed that she should run, but the beacon she had triggered had led her here. Inside her helmet, her own breath echoed. She could see figures waiting in the hangar bay ahead, tall shapes in black armor, some with faces hidden, some openly human. Their eyes caught the sphere's glow. This was not a rescue. This was an invitation to a reckoning. The shuttle landed with a hiss. The hangar doors sealed, cutting out the stars. Ava stood, lifting the sealed case. Its glow painted the deck blue. She could feel the ship's ancient engines humming beneath her boots, like a sleeping animal waking. "Welcome aboard, Commander," a deep voice boomed from the deck speakers. "We are the last of what your council tried to erase. We've been waiting for this day." Ava stepped down the ramp into the hangar. The air smelled like cold metal and old oil. Two figures approached. One was a tall man with grey streaks in his hair and a long coat, his eyes sharp but tired. The other was an insectoid, one of the same kind who had guarded her in the council chamber, but this one wore no chains. The man spoke first. "I'm Admiral Cade of the Ark Fleet. This is Envoy Terek. You brought the sphere out of the vault." Ava gripped the case. "And if I did, then you've brought the galaxy to the edge of war," Cade said quietly. "And maybe it's only chance at peace." She followed them through winding corridors that once had been a warship but were now a drifting sanctuary. In alcoves, she glimpsed humans, insectoids, scaled beings, outcasts from the Council's core worlds. They watched her with eyes that had seen thirst, exile, and silence. Cade led her to a chamber lined with cracked view panels showing real-time feeds of the galaxy. Dots of light marked Sahrin fleets, Council strongholds, dead worlds. In the center stood a round table made of metal and glass. Cade gestured to a chair. "Sit," he said. "You've carried the key. Now we decide what to do with it." Ava set the case on the table but didn't open it. "You think I have a choice?" "You have more choice than you know," the insectoid envoy said, its mandibles moving slowly. "The Council fears water's return. The Sahrin crave it. We have waited for someone who could break both chains." Ava frowned. "Why me?" "Because Earth never joined the drain," Cade said. "They left your world alone, hoping it would die. It didn't. That makes you dangerous." He tapped the table. A holomap rose, showing the newly awakened water routes. Blue lines pulsed across the galaxy. If you release this knowledge, everything changes overnight. But if you let us guide it, we can bargain. No war, no more secret drains. Real peace. The envoy leaned forward. But it must be done now. The Council and the Sahrin fleets are already moving. They will be here soon. Ava stared at the map. For a moment, she saw the faces of children on dry colonies, the ocean in the vault, the whisper of the custodian. She also saw the claws of the Sahrin and the Council's cold eyes. You're telling me I can choose who gets water? We're telling you, Cade said, that you're sitting at the last negotiation table the galaxy will allow. A tremor ran through the ship. Alarm lights flickered. A crewman's voice came over the intercom. Admiral, Sahrin vessels dropping from warp. Multiple contacts. Cade's jaw tightened. They found us sooner than I thought. The envoy's mandibles clicked rapidly. They will not talk. They will take. Ava looked at the case, then at the two leaders. Then maybe we should talk fast. Cade's eyes narrowed. Are you willing to open the sphere? Her fingers hovered over the seals. The custodian's whisper echoed, water is life, and war. She took a breath. If I open this, everyone has to hear me. Even the Sahrin. Cade nodded slowly. Then you'll speak for Earth, for all of us. The alarms rose to a wail. Outside the view panels, shadows of Sahrin warships filled the stars. Fighters streaked toward the arc horizon. The crew rushed to stations, weapons charging. Ava placed her hands on the case. Patch me through to every ship in range, she said. If this is the last negotiation, then let's make it count, Cade signaled. All channels open. Ava pressed the release. The case split. The sphere rose into the air, glowing brighter than ever. Droplets spun out, forming a ring of light around her. Her voice carried through every speaker, every comm, every ship in the system. This is Commander Ava Ruiz of Earth, she said, steady and clear. The water you've stolen, the oceans you've bled, can return, but only if we stop killing each other. I have the key. Come to this table, or watch me destroy it. Silence spread across the comms. Then a low growl from the Sahrin flagship. Show us. Ava looked at Cade. Get them on a channel, she said. We're not done yet. Outside, weapons glowed. Ships bristled. The sphere pulsed. The galaxy hung on a breath. Silence hung over the system like a held breath. Outside the arc horizon, two massive armadas faced each other across the void. The sleek, scythe-shaped warships of the Sahrin and the towering silver vessels of the Galaxy Council. Between them, one battered human dreadnought drifted, shields flickering. Inside, Commander Ava Ruiz stood before the floating sphere of water, its light casting ripples across the negotiation table. Every screen showed the same thing. Thousands of ships with weapons charged, waiting for one signal to fire. Ava could feel the weight of every thirsty world pressing on her shoulders. The custodian's whisper from the vault still echoed in her head. Water is life and war. This was the moment she had run from and fought toward since stepping into the council chamber. Now one choice would decide if the galaxy drowned in blood or drank together. She drew a breath. Open the channel, she said. Holoscreens flickered to life around the table, showing the faces of the council's leader, a crystalline being with a voice like wind over ice, and the masked warlord of the Sahrin. Both stared at the sphere hovering between them. Its glow pulsed like a heartbeat. Council leader, human, surrender the artifact. It belongs to the stars. Serene warlord, no, the drain ends. We take it, we drink. Ava raised a hand. You all took oceans. You all drained worlds. This sphere is the last key to restore them. But if I give it to either of you, the war never ends. Her voice carried out across every ship. Behind her, Admiral Cade and Envoy Terek watched silently, weapons crews holding fire, waiting for her to finish. Ava turned the sphere in her palms. Droplets floated off it, forming ghostly images of seas and rivers across the negotiation chamber. The water doesn't belong to any empire. It belongs to life. So here's my offer. She pressed her palm to the sphere. A ripple of blue light washed outward, touching every screen, every ship. The custodian's voice filled the comms. Choice registered. Source network unlocked. Suddenly maps bloomed across space itself, shimmering corridors of hidden aquifers, vaults, ice seas and reservoirs buried under dead moons. All of them glowed blue. The council delegates gasped. The Sahrin hissed. Ava's voice cut through the shock. I've broadcast the locations to everyone at once. No secrets, no monopoly. You all have water, but you have to protect it together. If you fight over it, the key dissolves forever. The sphere in her hands shimmered, its glow dimming slightly as a timer appeared in midair. One cycle to choose. On the council ships, captains argued in dozens of languages. On the Sahrin flagships, claws scraped metal. Across the system, weapons flickered between armed and safe. Everyone waited. Ava stepped closer to the holofeeds, her voice low but steady. You drained your worlds because you feared each other. That ends today. Decide, share and rebuild, or fight and lose everything. I will not let you steal Earth's oceans. For a long, terrible moment, no one spoke. Then the crystalline council leader lowered its shimmering head. We will discuss terms. On the Sahrin flagship, the warlord let out a low hiss and folded his claws. We will drink together. For now, Admiral Cade let out the breath he'd been holding. The sphere in Ava's hands brightened, timer vanishing. Across the galaxy, vault doors opened. Rivers began to flow again on dry worlds. Ice melted on dead moons. The custodian's voice whispered one last time in her ear, choice accepted. Life returns. Outside the viewports, beams of blue light shot out from hidden reservoirs, threading the stars like veins. Planets lit up one by one as their waters returned. Children on dry colonies held out their hands to falling rain. Alien worlds, long silent, roared with new rivers. On the bridge of the arc horizon, Ava watched the sphere dissolve into a mist of light, scattering across the galaxy. She felt a strange calm. The fight wasn't over, but the first step had been taken. Cade stood beside her. You just changed everything, he said quietly. No, Ava said. We all did. In the distance, Council and Sahrin ships began to pull back, not firing but holding formation. The stars themselves seemed to glow a little bluer. Ava turned away from the viewport. Set a course for Earth, she said. We've got work to do. The Arc Horizon's engines rumbled to life, pushing them forward through the new blue lanes of space. Behind them, across the galaxy, water flowed, and old enemies looked at each other with something like hope. The camera pulled back. One small human ship, carrying the memory of oceans, flying between newly lit stars.